Have you ever witnessed something, maybe a transformation in someone, or even yourself, that just seemed, well, impossible? Something that made you really stop and question what we're actually capable of?
Oh, absolutely. Or maybe you've had those moments, right, where you somehow pushed past what you thought was your limit.
Exactly. And you're left thinking, how on earth did I do that?
Mm.
And maybe even, could I do that again? Like reliably? Or maybe even more.
hmm Well, today we're really diving deep into that exact territory. We're exploring excerpts from Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, specifically Becoming Supernatural.
Yeah, and this is for those of you already on this path. You know, people get that real change starts inside. We're not just going to talk about cool ideas.
No, the mission here is to really unlock the science and, yeah, the mysticism behind these incredible shifts. It's not just the what, it's the how. How can you apply this stuff?
Right. We know you, our listener, you're already tuned in. You're ready to skip the 101, the basic stuff. We want to jump straight into the deep end, the insights, the practical tools.
So let's explore together. Let's look at redefining human potential, drawing on, real stories, actual scientific studies, brain scans, heart coherence data, gene expression.
All grounded in things like neuroscience and quantum physics.
Hmm.
This is about sharpening our own understanding, activating those deeper truths. Okay, so let's start with this foundational idea. Expanding beyond what we think of as normal. History is, well, it's full of stories, isn't it? People doing things that seem impossible.
It really is. You have figures like Lu Qingwen, supposedly living over 250 years. Now, whether you take that literally or not.
Right, it points to a potential far beyond our usual assumptions.
Exactly. And it's not just ancient legends. Look at the Institute of Sciences, IONS. They've documented, thousands, over 3,500 references of spontaneous healings.
Wow, 3,500. From what, proper journals?
Oh, yeah, over 800 journals, 20 languages. It's a huge body of evidence suggesting the quote-unquote impossible isn't quite so impossible.
Okay, so if this potential is there, documented even, what made the author Dispenza shift his focus? Why stop trying to convince the skeptics and really lean into this supernatural idea? What was the pivot?
Well, it was a very conscious, almost strategic realization on his part. He saw that pouring energy into convincing people deeply invested in only studying the normal, people resistant to anything outside their existing box, it was just, well, dreaming.
A waste of the creative energy needed for the actual work.
Precisely. It was utterly unproductive. So he made a very clear, direct decision. Forget trying to impress or persuade the doubters. Focus everything, all that energy, on the people who already felt that sense of possibility.
The ones who were open, ready to actually do something with the information.
They were the ones eager to apply it. So his mission became crystal clear. Deliver complex science, but make it simple. Simple enough for everyday people to use practically in their own lives. It's about truth delivery, not argument.
That's a really interesting shift. It moves it away from needing external validation, from winning a debate, towards empowering those already seeking it, a direct path for those who resonate.
Right. And this wasn't just a nice idea. To back it up, he and his team spent 4 solid years measuring things, recording, analyzing biological changes in regular people at his workshops.
4 years of data collection.
Yep. The specific goal: prove scientifically that the uncommon, the supernatural, is absolutely achievable, reproducible for anyone willing to do the work. It's not just about healing, though that's a big part, obviously. It's about giving the tools, the explicit how-to.
So these transformations, they're becoming, well, almost expected within that community.
Yeah.
Less like miracles, more like the outcome of applied principles.
Increasingly so, yes. They're pushing the boundaries of what's considered possible, challenging conventional models.
Okay, so if it's measurable, how do you bridge that gap between these deeply personal, sometimes mystical experiences and cold, hard data? How do you quantify this objective?
That's really the core of it. They use a lot of quantitative EEG, brain scans, thousands of them.
Okay, EG measures brainwave activity.
Right, and they measure it before workshops, after, and crucially during the meditations and exercises. And the results are, well, they're dramatic. Measurable shifts in brain synchronization, in coherence.
Coherence meaning?
Meaning different parts of the brain firing together, more organized, more powerful, more unified. And what's really striking, sometimes hard to grasp if you're new to this,
Yeah.
these huge shifts can happen fast.
Yeah.
Like within 4 days of consistent practice, you see it right there on the readouts.
4 days. That's
Yeah.
rapid.
It is. And to add another layer, they partnered with the Heart Math Institute, HMI.
Heart math. I know their work on heart coherence.
Exactly. So they started measuring heart coherence too. That specific state where your heart rhythm becomes really ordered, smooth, reflecting a balanced nervous system.
And they give feedback.
Real-time biofeedback. So students learn right there in the moment how to regulate their internal state, how to create that heart coherence consciously, regardless of what's happening around them.
So you know instantly if you're doing it right. Powerful feedback loop.
Incredibly powerful. It turns this internal state into a skill you can practice, refine, master, makes the subjective tangible, repeatable.
Okay, so you master it individually, but does this scale? Does my personal coherence affect anything beyond me?
Profoundly. The principles extend way beyond the individual. This leads to something called project coherence.
Project coherence. Sounds ambitious.
It is. It involved thousands of people globally meditating at the exact same time, same day, with a single shared intention to literally raise the frequency of the planet. A global meditation.
Okay, meditating for planetary well-being.
Yeah.
That sounds like something many would dismiss as wishful thinking. Is there actual evidence this collective intention does anything measurable?
It might sound out there, but the data is surprisingly strong. There are, I think, over 23 peer-reviewed studies now, plus maybe 50 or more peace-gathering projects.
Peer-reviewed, really?
Absolutely. And they consistently show that these large, focused group events can measurably decrease things like violence, war, crime rates, even traffic accidents.
Traffic accidents. How?
Seems unrelated, right? But the data shows these events correlate with decreases in accidents and even increases in economic growth in the target areas. The collective focused intention seems to create a field effect.
So a large group focusing on peace or unity actually creates a measurable positive shift in reality, like 70% of the time.
Around that, yes. Simply by generating that collective consciousness, that coherence, it directly impacts the global information field. It shows consciousness isn't just passive, it affects objective reality when focused collectively.
Wow. That changes everything. I mean, my personal work, my inner state, is not just for me. It actually contributes, ripples out, influences the larger field. My coherence matters globally.
That's exactly the implication. Your inner state radiates. So let's shift inward now and look at something that keeps many people stuck. The thinking-feeling loop. It's a biochemical cycle happening inside us constantly.
Okay, the thinking-feeling loop. How does that work?
Well, you think a thought could be a memory, a worry about the future, anything. Your brain instantly releases chemicals matching that thought.
Chemicals, like hormones?
Hormones, neuropeptides, yeah. These chemicals flood your body, and you start to feel the way you were just thinking. Sad thoughts, sad feelings, angry thoughts, angry feelings.
Right, makes sense.
But here's the loop part. Once you feel that emotions, sadness, anger, whatever your brain's seeking consistency, then generates more thoughts that are equal to how you're feeling.
Ah, so the feeling triggers more of the same thoughts.
Exactly, which releases more of the same chemicals, reinforcing the feeling, which generates more of the same thoughts, and round it goes. It becomes automatic, subconscious.
Like a biological echo chamber, reinforcing the same state. If it's the same negative thoughts and feelings, you're just stuck there.
Precisely. Anna's story, which is shared in the book, is a really powerful, though tragic example. Her husband committed suicide. The grief, the pain, the shock, immense.
Unimaginable.
And day after day, she found herself reliving the trauma in her mind, thinking about it constantly. Now, here's the crucial part. Her body couldn't tell the difference between the memory of the event and the event actually happening again.
Wow. The body reacts the same way?
The exact same way. It kept producing the same flood of stress chemicals day in, day out, as if the trauma was ongoing.
And that constant stress chemistry, it manifested physically.
It did. She developed symptoms very similar to multiple sclerosis, lost feeling in her leg, difficulty walking, and then later, esophageal cancer. Her body had become, in a very real sense, addicted to the chemistry of grief and stress.
That's deeply sobering. The body doesn't know the difference. So emotions aren't just feelings, they are chemical consequences of past experiences, literally locking us into that past state.
That's the essence of it. And this loop creates what Dispenza calls the habit of being yourself. You think the same thoughts, make the same choices, do the same things, feel the same emotions subconsciously.
So you're just running a program.
You are. You've done it so often, your body is the mind. It knows how to be stressed or guilty or fearful better than your conscious mind does, and it drags you towards a predictable future based entirely on your past.
Unless
unless you're consciously in the present moment.
Exactly. If you're not consciously creating something new in the present, you're likely just running old programs, using up all your creative energy, reliving the past.
Okay, so if our attention directs our energy and we're constantly leaking it into the past or a predictable future, how do we stop that? How do we reclaim that energy to actually create something different?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If your attention is on past hurts or future worries, your energy is literally flowing out of the present moment, the only place creation can happen.
So the energy isn't available for the now.
Right. To create the unknown, something truly new, you have to pull your attention out of the known past and the predictable future. And that's where meditation comes in.
How does meditation help reclaim that energy?
It allows you to consciously withdraw your attention, to get beyond your body's feelings, beyond your environment's distractions, beyond your concept of linear time. You call your energy back to the present moment.
By disconnecting from the familiar inputs.
You disconnect from the familiar, yes. You lose track of the past and future, and you enter the quantum field, the field of infinite possibilities right here, right now.
Okay, that makes sense conceptually.
Yeah.
Stop feeding the old patterns, create space for the new. But does this mental shift translate into actual measurable physical changes beyond just feeling calmer? Is it like biological reprogramming?
Oh, it's much more than just feeling better. It's absolutely tangible biological change. Look at mental rehearsal. It's fascinating.
Mental rehearsal, like visualization.
Exactly. There was a study at the Cleveland Clinic. People just imagined flexing their biceps 5 times a week for 12 weeks, never actually lifted a weight. Their biceps strength increased by 13.5%, just from imagination.
13%.
Yeah.
Without moving the muscle.
Correct. Another study, University of Texas and Kessler Foundation, 10.8% strength increase in elbow flexors using only internal imagery. Ohio University found even a casted arm maintained strength through mental exercise.
That's incredible. So the brain doesn't fully distinguish between imagining and doing.
Not when it's done with focus and intention. You fire the neural pathways, you prime the biology, the body starts to change as if the experience is already happening. It anticipates the reality.
Which leads us right into epigenetics, doesn't it? The idea that genes aren't destiny.
Precisely. Epigenetics basically says the environment signals the gene. And if emotion is the end product, the chemical feedback from an experience, then emotion is what tells your genes what to do.
So my feelings can literally switch genes on or off.
That's the implication. When you consistently cultivate elevated emotions, real joy, deep gratitude, profound love, inspiration, you are sending new signals to your genes.
Signals for health.
Signals to upregulate healthy proteins, strengthen your immune system, switch on genes for repair and vitality, and switch off genes related to stress and disease.
And this isn't just theory.
Not at all.
Well,
They did a study at a Tampa workshop, 30 participants. In just 4 days of practicing cultivating elevated emotions, they measurably changed the expression of 8 different genes.
8 genes in 4 days. What kind of genes?
Important ones. Genes involved in neurogenesis, growing new brain cells. Genes for cell repair, cancer suppression, clearing out free radicals, building cellular structure. It's a direct link. Sustained emotional state changes genetic expression.
That completely flips the script on genetic determinism. Our inner state, our chosen emotions, can literally rewrite our biology.
Amazing. And speaking of the internal landscape, you mentioned the body's energy centers, acting like mini brains. Yes, exactly. Each major energy center, often called chakras in Eastern traditions, has its own distinct biological setup. Its own glands, its own specific hormones and chemicals, and crucially, its own complex network of neurons, a nerve plexus.
So each center is like an independent processing unit, a localized mind.
Effectively, yes. Each one acts as its own mini-brain, an information processing center right there in the body.
Connecting that idea, if consciousness activates neurons to create mind, and these centers have neurons, then each center has its own mind, activated by our energy and intention.
That's a perfect way to put it. When you direct focused energy and conscious intent to a specific center, you're activating that center's unique intelligence, triggering its specific biological functions. Hormones, tissues, cells in that area respond.
A decentralized intelligence network throughout the body. Wow.
It leads to fascinating concepts like organ memory. The idea that memories, especially traumatic ones, aren't just stored in the brain, but in the energy fields surrounding our organs.
Organ memory, like the organ itself holds information.
The energy field around it does. There's a dramatic, almost unbelievable story about an 8-year-old girl who received a heart transplant from a 10-year-old girl who had been murdered.
Oh my goodness.
after the transplant, the recipient started having terrifyingly vivid nightmares, specific details about the murder, the time, place, weapon, even what the killer wore, things she couldn't possibly know.
And this information.
It was so precise, coming apparently from the donor heart's energy field, that it actually led police to identify and convict the killer. The trauma information was stored energetically and transferred with the organ.
That's chilling, but absolutely profound. It means our experiences, our information is distributed throughout our entire system, not just the head. So how do we consciously work with these centers? How do we release stuck energy?
This brings us to a very specific breath technique used in this work. It's quite mechanical, actually.
Well, how does it work?
You start by contracting the muscles of your perineum right at the base of your torso. Then you sequentially contract your lower abdomen, then your upper abdomen, all while inhaling slowly and steadily up through your nose.
Contracting upwards while breathing in. What does that do?
It creates increased pressure within the spinal column, intrathecal pressure. This pressure physically pushes cerebrospinal fluid, the fluid bathing your brain and spine, up the spinal canal.
Forcing fluid upwards,
Yes.
towards the brain.
Exactly. And if you simultaneously place your attention at the very top of your head, this pressurized fluid moves into the brain and physically squeezes the pineal gland.
Squeezing the pineal gland.
Yes, this mechanical stress creates an electrical charge in the crystals within the pineal gland. It's called the piezoelectric effect. You're literally generating an electrical signal in this key gland through breath and muscle contraction.
So we're not just moving air, we're moving fluid, energy, and creating electricity internally, like jump-starting a system.
Precisely. And as this charged energy moves, it naturally creates a torsion field or a torus field around the body.
A torus field, like that donut-shaped pattern.
Yes, the same fundamental pattern you see everywhere in nature: apples, magnetic fields, galaxies. By doing this breath repeatedly, with focus, you stir up a tremendous amount of dormant energy stored in the body.
Dormant energy.
Right.
Like potential that's been locked away.
Exactly. It's locked away by stress, by living in survival mode. When you do this breath correctly, consistently, with intent, you essentially wake up this sleeping dragon, this powerful reservoir of life force.
And this shows up in brainwaves.
Oh, significantly. Many students practicing this regularly generate very high-frequency brainwaves, high beta, even moving into gamma, the fastest frequencies. Or they sustain very coherent beta states. It shows intense inner focus, far more attention on the inner world than the outer. And we see way more brain coherence as a result. Now, to really make deep changes, to access the body's core operating system, the autonomic nervous system you have, to get beyond your everyday analytical mind, that's typically a high beta brainwave.
High beta, that's our normal waking state.
Yeah.
Thinking, analyzing, focusing outward.
Right. Constantly analyzing the environment, planning, often worrying based on past experiences. To create something new, you need to quiet that analytical gatekeeper. You need to shift into slower brainwave states, primarily alpha and theta.
Alpha and theta. More relaxed states, like daydreaming or light sleep.
Exactly. Those are states associated with trance, deep relaxation, and direct access to the subconscious mind.
So, practically speaking, how do we consciously slow our brainwaves down? How do we get into that space where we can bypass the analytical mind that keeps us locked in the familiar?
It's absolutely crucial. When you intentionally slow your brainwaves into alpha and theta, your attention naturally shifts. It moves away from the constant chatter and distractions of the outer world and turns inward.
Towards the inner landscape.
Precisely. The analytical thinking quiets down. That part of you that's always judging, predicting based on the past, preparing for the worst. It goes offline, or at least gets much quieter.
And in that quiet space.
You become truly present. You exist in the eternal now, where all possibilities exist. The deeper you go into that trance state, the less resistance there is. The subconscious becomes highly receptive to new information, new programming.
So you become more suggestible, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Able to input new instructions.
Exactly. You can consciously program the deep automatic operating system.
This feels like the absolute key. Rewriting those deep-seated programs that run our lives automatically.
It really is foundational. And it's the basis for meditations like the blessing of the energy centers.
Okay, tell me about that one.
In that practice, your job is consciously slow your brainwaves, get into alpha or theta. Then you combine a strong, elevated emotion like deep love or gratitude with a clear intention to bless each energy center for its highest good.
So you're directing love and intention to each center.
Yes, loving each one back into balance, into wholeness. And then, importantly, you surrender. You let go. You allow the autonomic nervous system, the body's innate intelligence, to take over and restore order without your conscious mind interfering.
Letting the body's wisdom do the work.
Exactly. And they've actually measured this using things like gas discharge visualization, GDV devices, and BioWell software.
Measuring the energy field.
Essentially, yes. And the data consistently shows clearer, more balanced energy in the centers after this meditation. A more coherent, efficient system overall, objectively measured.
Okay, now, this is where it gets really intriguing for me, maybe a bit mystical. The pineal gland. The third eye, you call it a dimensional timepiece, a cosmic antenna. What's really going on with this tiny gland deep in the brain? How does it connect us to, well, other realities?
The pineal is truly fascinating. It's an alchemical powerhouse. On a basic level, it takes the amino acid L-tryptophan and converts it through steps into serotonin and eventually melatonin, especially between 1 and 4 a.m. That's the sleep regulation part most people know.
Right, melatonin for sleep.
But the magic, the supernatural part, happens when higher frequencies sustain states of elevated consciousness, coherence, the energy from that breath technique interact with it.
Okay, higher frequencies hitting the pineal, then what?
Then it starts transmuting melatonin into some really powerful metabolites. One group is like natural benzodiazepines.
Like Valium, produced naturally.
Similar class of chemicals, yes, but produced internally. And their effect here isn't sedation. Paradoxically, they quiet the analytical mind, suppress the fear center, the amygdala. So fear, anger, pain signals lessen dramatically.
So the body gets deeply calm, but the mind?
The mind becomes incredibly awake, lucid, highly aware and sensitive to subtle information, deep peace in the body, heightened awareness in the mind.
So it's not just relaxation, it's a fundamental shift in perception, a biological state for expanded consciousness.
Absolutely. And it doesn't stop there. The pineal also produces phosphorescent bioluminescent chemicals.
Like light emitting, like fireflies.
Similar idea. In the nervous system, these seem to amplify energy, make the whole system more sensitive, more capable of conducting and processing higher frequencies of information. We actually measure these increased energy amplitudes in students' brains. It reflects a real profound subjective experience.
What other chemicals?
Things like pinoline and even trace amounts of endogenous 5-MeO-DMT. A potent neurotransmitter associated with mystical experiences. Again, this isn't about taking external substances. It's your own body's innate pharmacy being activated.
Our own internal pharmacy for mystical states.
Exactly. When you reach these deep states of coherence through practice, the pineal unlocks this potential. It creates the very chemistry that shifts perception, opens you to other dimensions, connects you to deeper layers of reality beyond the 5 senses.
Have you had experiences like that yourself? Stemming from this process?
I have some very profound ones described in the work. Seeing possible realities laid out like a chessboard in a conscious dream. Another time, seeing a tiny luminous woman in white, absolutely clear, not a hallucination. She directed me to look at a window. And I saw my future self washing dishes, looking back at my present self with this immense gratitude. And I remembered, as my present self, pausing while washing dishes, feeling watched, looking out that same window moments before, past and future collapsing.
Wow. Observer and observed simultaneously. Time bending.
And that whole incredibly complex experience, which felt like it took ages, happened in about 10 linear minutes, a total time dilation.
That sounds exactly like stepping out of normal space-time, which connects to that concept from the book, right? The difference between space-time and time-space.
Precisely. Our normal reality is space-time, 3D material, where time is created by moving through physical space. Takes time to get from A to B.
Right, linear time.
But time-space.
Yeah.
That's described as a higher dimension, 5D perhaps, where time is eternal and infinite spaces or dimensions exist simultaneously. You experience them by moving through time, not space.
How do you even access that?
By becoming nobody, no one, no thing, nowhere in no time, moving beyond identification with the physical, the personal, the environmental, entering the quantum field as pure consciousness.
Pure awareness.
In that realm, the only limit is imagination. You don't try to create because everything already exists as potential, as thought. You just become aware of it, observe it, experience it.
And the pineal gland isn't working alone in this, is it? The pituitary gland plays a role too.
Yes, there's a synergy. The pituitary, especially the posterior part, works closely with the activated pineal. It releases oxytocin and vasopressin.
Oxytocin, the love hormone.
Right. It generates those deep feelings of love, bonding, connection, makes it really hard to hold on to resentment or feel separate. There was that trust game study in Zurich.
Tell me about that.
Participants given oxytocin kept investing trust even after being betrayed, the placebo group. They felt anger, invested less. Oxytocin overrides that betrayal response with connection.
And vasopressin.
That promotes trust too, plus empathy, social bonding. So you have this cocktail. The pineal metabolites opening perception, reducing fear, and the pituitary chemicals fostering love, trust, connection. It's a biological recipe for profound transformation and oneness. Okay, so understanding all this inner machinery, the mind-body connection, the energy centers, the glands, gives us the foundation. Now, how do we consciously use this to create a new reality? This is where tools like mind movies and kaleidoscopes come in.
Mind movies and kaleidoscopes. These aren't just visualization aids, are they? They sound like specific tools for reprogramming.
They are very specific. They're designed to help you intentionally program your subconscious by inducing those alpha and theta brainwave states, but with your eyes open. That's key. It bypasses the analytical mind while you're still somewhat awake.
Eyes open. Okay. So how do we use these to, install a program for being unlimited instead of just passively absorbing all the limiting messages from advertising, news, whatever?
It's about taking control of the input, reversing the flow. You become the programmer. The kaleidoscope used isn't a toy. It's filmed using professional digital cinema cameras, fiber optics inside, rotating crystals and oils, all against a pure black background.
Why black background?
It represents the quantum void, that infinite potential, the space of nobody, no one, no thing. Watching those complex, unfolding fractal patterns naturally engages the right brain. The creative, intuitive, pattern-recognizing side opens you up.
Okay, so the kaleidoscope primes the right brain. Then the mind movie.
Then you watch your personalized mind movie. This is your own creation. Images, short video clips, powerful affirmations about your desired future, all set to music that really evokes strong, elevated emotions for you.
Ah, so the words and specific images engage the left brain, the logical side.
Exactly. You've got the right brain open and receptive from the kaleidoscope, the left brain engaged by the language and structure of the mind movie. Boom. Whole brain coherence. The subconscious is wide open for those positive instructions.
It's delivering the message when the defenses are down, essentially, making the programming stick.
Precisely. And the impact can be incredible. Glenn and Natalie's story is a great example. They launched a business in September 2008, right in the middle of the financial crash.
Terrible timing, seemingly.
And they were already $120,000 in credit card debt. But they made their mind movie, watched it religiously multiple times a day, held the intention, the vision, the feeling of success, aiming for $1 million in sales.
What happened on launch day?
Their email system crashed, thousands of complaints flooding in, total chaos externally. But they still made $100,000 in sales in the first hour.
$100,000.
In an hour.
Despite the system failure.
Yep. Because they had so thoroughly programmed their internal state, their biology, their energy field, by watching that mind movie, feeling those future emotions, that the outer world, the quantum field, had to respond. They became the people who were succeeding.
They pre-experienced it into reality.
Exactly. That's why affirmations work so well in this state. You're not just wishfully thinking, you're installing commands. Things like, the doors of dimension open to me, or wealth flows to me effortlessly and abundantly.
My body becomes younger and more vibrant every day.
My words are law, effortlessly manifesting my desires. Whatever resonates with your specific goals, you're signaling new genes, rewiring your brain for that future.
So it's moving from wanting something to being the person who already has it, aligning inner and outer worlds. And then there's a walking meditation. How does that fit in? How does it take this state out into the world?
The walking meditation is absolutely crucial. It's the bridge. It takes what you cultivate in sitting meditation, that coherence, that elevated emotion, that connection to your future, and integrates it into your active waking life.
So you're meditating while moving, eyes open.
Eyes open, walking, interacting with the environment, but internally, you're consciously generating those elevated feelings, holding the intention of your future. You are walking as your future self.
So you're programming the autonomic nervous system on the go, creating the future biology while living your day.
Exactly. You're maintaining that internal state regardless of external circumstances. You're embodying the change. It's not just a mental exercise you do for 20 minutes. It becomes who you are moment to moment.
Making the transformation embodied physical, not just conceptual.
It's the ultimate embodiment. Look at Tim's story. He struggled for years with feeling unworthy, deeply unworthy.
A common struggle for many people.
For his mind movie, he deliberately linked gold and silver coins not just to money, but to the feeling of worthiness. He focused on the word affluence, from the Latin to flow toward.
Nice. Shifting the meaning.
During one meditation, focusing on receiving, he felt this intense burning in his heart, overwhelming joy, unconditional love for life. Then, like electricity, energy shot up through his crown, poured out his hands, pure ecstasy. Lost all sense of time and space.
A major breakthrough.
And he knew with absolute certainty everything had changed. He wasn't the same person anymore. He'd biologically and energetically transcended that old self, or Sarah. Debilitating sciatic pain, couldn't move properly. Her dream was doing aerial yoga seemed impossible.
Right, needing flexibility and strength she didn't have.
In one meditation, focusing on a scene from her mind movie, Working with the Breath, she lay down afterwards, but she said she couldn't find the floor. Felt suspended, weightless, infinitely flexible, like the floor just dissolved into space beneath her.
And the pain.
Gone. Instantly. Completely healed after that profound energetic shift. And Terry, carrying huge trauma from her father's suicide attempt, plus years of limiting beliefs. During a walking meditation on a beach, seemingly normal setting, she just felt it all dissolve. The energetic chains, the limitations just fell away. Felt true liberation, this overwhelming flood of unconditional love. And she had this realization. Her future self, the liberated one, was calling her past self forward to that exact moment of release.
Her future self was pulling her forward. Amazing.
Found a profound peace, felt more herself than ever before.
These stories really drive it home. It's about taking those mundane moments, waiting in line, stuck in traffic, walking, and consciously choosing to generate your future energy then. Embodying that future self step by step, regardless of the outside world. Powerful.
And these stories, these transformations, they aren't just random flukes or isolated miracles. They represent a consistent pattern we see again and again in people who commit to this work.
But that's the really critical point, isn't it? Reproducibility. It's not just luck. It's the result of applying specific principles. How do these diverse stories show that this is like a universal blueprint for change accessible to us?
Well, look at the pattern across different situations. Let's go back to Anna, the woman whose husband died, who developed MS symptoms and cancer.
Right, trapped in that grief loop.
After 2 years of intense pain and that diagnosis, she committed. Daily meditations, no excuses, consciously working to break that habit of being her old self, firing and wiring new neural pathways.
Actively overriding the old programming.
Yes. Slowly, she started feeling real gratitude, moments of love, overcoming her body's conditioning, overcoming her mind's patterns day by day. She calmed her internal chemistry, broke the addiction to stress, and she healed physically, changed her biology by changing her inner state.
That's incredible willpower and focus. Mind over matter truly demonstrated.
It is. Or Daniel. Stressed entrepreneur had that pop in his head during a rage, developed extreme electromagnetic hypersensitivity, couldn't be near phones, computers, without debilitating pain.
A very physical, environmentally triggered condition.
And through consistent meditation, focusing inward, changing his internal state, he recovered. Healed himself by altering his inner emotional and energetic environment, showed the body can regulate itself differently.
Then Felicia, the skeptical doctor with severe eczema that came back. That must have been tough, especially with her background.
Hugely challenging. Her skepticism was deep-rooted. The eczema returning felt like a massive setback, tied to stress about her medical practice, but she stuck with it, made her mind movie with images of healthy skin.
What was her turning point?
During an advanced workshop, pushing through intense sensations and the breath work, something just broke open. She described an exhilarating explosion of energy in her brain, connecting instantly to this vast, loving intelligence.
A direct experience.
Absolute knowing of pure love, overwhelming joy. And in that state, the eczema vanished, completely resolved, and her takeaway was powerful. If a once jaded, intensely analytical doctor can do it, absolutely anyone can.
That's a heck of an endorsement from a medical professional. What about really specific things, like a tumor?
Stacy's story. Persistent earache, confirmed ear tumor. During a pineal gland meditation, she saw an amazing flash of light, felt a bluish-white light enter her ear. Immediate healing. Tumor gone, hearing perfect. A dramatic, instantaneous shift linked directly to that focused, energetic experience. Or Donna. Years of chronic depression, crushing exhaustion. During meditation, experienced downloads of brilliant light. Felt like her brain was being rewired, sending new signals.
And the depression.
Gone, instantly, along with the exhaustion. Later, she had that experience of becoming the universe, moving from somebody to everybody. describes her life now as magical.
From somebody to everybody,
Yeah.
embodying that oneness in
Yeah.
serious organ conditions.
A medical tech himself. Acute pancreatitis near death. Pancreatic enzyme levels through the roof. 4,000, 5,000, when normal is maybe 100, 200. Plus an orange-sized mass on his pancreas.
Dire situation.
Instead of giving in, he committed relentlessly, raising his energy constantly, focusing on health, gratitude, actively changing his core belief that he was sick.
What happened?
Doctors re-scanned him later. The mass, completely gone, dissolved, enzyme levels normalized. His understanding. By raising his frequency, changing his thoughts and beliefs, his own consciousness healed his body.
Wow. Across all these different conditions, pain, skin issues, tumors, organ failure, emotional states, the common thread is changing the inner environment through intention, emotion, and consistent practice, leading to profound healing.
It truly highlights the body's incredible innate intelligence and capacity for regeneration. Once we learn how to consciously engage it and get out of our own way, it's tapping into the laws of the quantum field through our own being.
So we've really covered a lot of ground, understanding that thinking-feeling loop, how to unlock stored energy, tapping into the pineal gland for higher dimensions, and using tools like mind movies and walking meditations to consciously build a new reality. It's more than just ideas, isn't it? It feels like a practical blueprint.
It really is. And we're at a point in history, I think, where just knowing this stuff isn't enough anymore. It's time to know how to actually apply it. This deep dive hopefully offers that blueprint for changing yourself from the inside out, becoming your own creator.
And accepting that our inner world, our subjective mind, genuinely influences the objective world. Mind really does influence matter.
Absolutely. And if knowledge is always the precursor to experience, then the more knowledge you gain about your own power, the science behind how it all works, the more you truly grasp your limitless potential, both for yourself and as part of the collective.
That's a really empowering call to action for each of us. But it feels bigger than just individual transformation, too. It points towards a collective possibility.
Imagine, just pause and imagine for a second. Who could you become if you genuinely stopped living from survival mode, from fear, pain, separation, anger? What if, day by day, you chose to operate from your heart? From love, from oneness, from connection to everything seen and unseen?
What would happen?
Well, what if, by consistently practicing these principles, embodying love and gratitude, we don't just change ourselves? What if we collectively shift the entire global energy field, move it from the current state of discord and separation towards profound coherence, harmony, and unity? The evidence, from personal stories to Project Coherence, suggests this isn't just a dream, it's a tangible possibility we can activate, one awakened heart, one conscious choice at a time.